Welcome into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube and KSL NewsRadio. I am your BYU insider, Mitch Harper. It's October 1st edition of Cougar Tracks. We're 2 days away until BYU football takes on the West Virginia Mountaineers. But the top story is a little bit of carryover still from last week's game against Colorado.
The top story of the day. The biggest story in the world of BYU sports right here on Cougar Tracks.
The Big 12 Conference announced a public reprimand and fine to the University of Colorado. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark issued a statement, quote, hateful and discriminatory language has no home in the Big 12 Conference. While we appreciate Colorado apologizing for the chants that occurred in the stands during Saturday's game, the Big 12 maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Colorado will receive a $50,000 fine in accordance with our conference policies, end quote. That's Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, who announced that public reprimand and the fine of Colorado for their chants of bleep BYU and bleep the Mormons. Colorado head coach, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, he also, unprovoked, in his weekly press conference on Tuesday, had this to say and issued an apology to BYU.
Let me mention this, and Rick might not want me to mention. I know it was an incident at the conclusion of the game or whatsoever. On behalf of CU, on behalf of our athletic department, we would like to apologize to our opponents from a week ago for whatever derogatory statements were made by our fans. That's not indicative of who we are. Our student body, our kids are phenomenal. So don't indict us just based on a group of young kids that probably was intoxicated and high simultaneously. Maybe I shouldn't have said that as well. But the truth will make you free. But BYU, we love you, we appreciate you, and we support you. God bless.
Classy comments from Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. If there's anyone that can maybe be a mover and someone that's influential on fan bases, maybe thinking twice about these type of chants towards BYU or any school that's tied to, a faith-based organization, it's Coach Prime, because he carries a massive platform. He's someone that when he speaks, everyone listens. Going to Big 12 Media Day the past 2 years, Coach Prime is captivating. He has everyone stopping what they're doing to listen to Coach Prime. His press conferences in San Antonio, this past weekend in Boulder. My colleague Kyle Ireland was in the press conference with Coach Prime on Saturday. Kyle told me there were more than 100 people in that press conference. Again, Coach Prime carries a massive microphone, and for him to do that unprovoked, I think that's pretty cool. And I think it shows, again, the respect he has for Kalani Sitake, for BYU football. And look, Coach Prime's a God-fearing man. He's grounded in faith as well. I saw his son's video, Buck, Well Off Media, their post-game video after the BYU game, and he broke out in prayer in the post-game locker room. Coach Prime's a man grounded in faith. I just thought that was really cool for him, not even asked by anyone in the media about that, to apologize to BYU. And again, I just think that he's the type of individual that maybe his words will carry a lot of weight, that other student bodies will say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't have these chants anymore. One, because I don't want to say it's a stain on a school, but you get a fine, it becomes a news story. It's Wednesday, and we're still, to some degree, talking about this. Not that it needs to be talked about, but, I think Coach Prime just wanted to clear the air. As you heard, the truth will set you free. So I just thought that was really cool from Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, to go out and do that. Other programs and athletic departments have done similar things. I remember Oregon's AD, Dan Lanning, did that as well. But Coach Prime's just different. He captures a massive audience. People listen to him from all walks of life. And I just think that was cool for him to go out of his way and apologize and say, love you, BYU. I think sometimes in society, we forget that, you know what? A little bit of kindness, a little bit of love can go a long way to make people feel good and to ease any tensions that might be there. Again, I think BYU fans and BYU, the school, they move forward. They're not going to hold any grudges on anyone. They want to have a very good working relationship with the University of Colorado. It's not going to be held over their head, but still, I think it's just to say, hey, we love you. I thought that was pretty cool by Coach Prime to go out of his way and to do that. Moving forward now, BYU and West Virginia, Friday night, I get that mixed up. Friday night, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN and KSL NewsRadio. And with it being an earlier kickoff on a Friday night instead of a Saturday, we got a player availability report on Tuesday. Typically on Saturday game day weeks, it will be starting on Wednesdays and then Thursday, Friday, and then 90 minutes before kickoff. With a Friday game, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the 90-minute report on a Friday night game. Here is the sheet for BYU and West Virginia. For BYU, Jonathan Cabella, JoJo Phillips, Sione Moa, Che Bryant Strother, all out. No surprise, those players were listed as out last week, and that continues. I did see Jonathan Cabella walking out of practice on Tuesday. When practice concluded, he looked like he was in a jersey. Maybe he's getting closer, Jonathan Cabella, but still obviously out for this week's game. And Sione Moa remains out as well. Of note, there were some notable names listed on this player availability report for BYU. Offensive lineman Austin Leausa, he is questionable. He left the Colorado game early. He was in a sling leaving Folsom Field last Saturday. Saw him during the celebration. He had a sling on that he was supporting. And then in the probable section, which means they're probably going to play, linebacker Isaiah Glasker, safety Tommy Parasis, and then linebacker Naki Tuakoi. Isaiah Glasker on there as probable, but hey, everyone gets a little bit banged up. But still, the expectation for probable is that they're probably going to play. Tommy Parasis, I thought, was noteworthy that he's only at probable. He left the game against Colorado, and BYU had to turn to Tavion Beasley and Canada DeVries in stretches at that inside corner nickel position for the Cougars. But Glasker, that's significant, just seeing his name pop up. But again, the expectation when you're in that category is most likely you're going to play. We'll see nightly updates every single night leading up to kickoff between the Cougars and the Mountaineers. For West Virginia, they're out some significant players. Jaheim White, we knew that, out for the season, their star running back. He was the preseason first-team All-Big 12 selection at running back. That was a significant blow to this West Virginia team. Jaden Bray, their top wide receiver, he remains out for the season as well. Quarterback Nico Marchiol, he's out as he continues to deal with a foot injury. So their starting quarterback, starting running back, starting wide receiver, all out. It's no surprise that the Mountaineers are 2-3. Also out, Julian Horton and Cooper Young. Some other notable names on this injury report or player availability report for West Virginia. Ty Edwards, running back, he's questionable. He had 141 rushing yards against Pitt, but he hasn't played since. And he was really good in the backyard brawl. He remains questionable with an injury. Quarterback Max Brown is questionable. And then Jalen Henderson, the quarterback who got the start last week against Utah, he's questionable. And then their starting right guard, Kimo Makaniole, he's questionable as well. So the Mountaineers are banged up, particularly on the offensive side. Defensively, though, they look like they're trending up in terms of availability for Friday night's game in Provo, which again, 8:30 kick here on KSL News Radio and ESPN. Let's take a break. More Cougar Tracks coming up as we get to Kelly Poppinga interview coming up here on the show. It's Cougar Tracks, and it's powered by KSL Sports. Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube page. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Cougar Tracks wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, Overcast. So many different ways to subscribe to the show. I would appreciate it if you did subscribe and leave a 5-star rating and a review on whatever podcast platform you're on. that would be greatly appreciated to help support this show. We're more than a month and a half now doing the daily thing, and I have loved holding it down with this role here on Cougar Tracks on KSLSports.com, KSL NewsRadio, and the KSL Sports YouTube page. So, gonna pivot a little bit to basketball. Now that it's the month of October, nighttime is coming earlier and earlier as the days go by. That means one thing: basketball is around the corner, and this month we are going to get Big 12 basketball. BYU will have its first exhibition on October 18th against Nebraska coming up in Lincoln, and then they'll also have another exhibition against the North Carolina Tar Heels in the Delta Center. So we are going to get some college basketball fired up this month, and I cannot wait. And the toughest conference in America, Big 12 hoops, should be a buzzsaw once again. And now it's time to roll out my Big 12 basketball preseason power rankings as fall practices are settling in. Teams are gearing up for their exhibition games. I thought it was a perfect time to roll out the preseason power rankings for Big 12 hoops. And I'll start from the bottom and work my way up to the number one spot. 16 teams in the league, 18 games scheduled in Big 12 play this year. And we're going to start off with number 16, UCF. Make or break year possibly for Johnny Dawkins. I was in Orlando for the Big 12 spring meetings, and Terry Mahajer was talking to a lot of the local media, and they discussed Johnny Dawkins. And, you know, it's a feeling like he's got to win. Johnny Dawkins does, and we'll see how it goes in Orlando. But I've got them at the bottom after their roster got raided this past season. Number 15, Utah. Year one for Alex Jensen, stepping in at his alma mater. Comes in from the NBA with the Dallas Mavericks. He retained Keanu Dawes, which was significant, getting him, the former Rice transfer guy with local ties to the University of Utah program. They also added Farley Dickinson, 20-point scorer guard, Terrence Brown to that guard line. But Utah basketball in a bit of, transition. This is a team that could be a lot better than 15, maybe, 10 or 11, somewhere in there. But I just think this league is so deep that it's hard to project anything else. And I don't know who you turn to as the top guys on this team yet, but I do think Alex Jensen will be a solid coach and maybe better than Craig Smith too for the Utes, but low expectations in year one. Number 14, Colorado. Tad Boyle had probably his worst year as the Colorado head coach. Remember, Tad Boyle coached in the Big 12 in the Buffs' original stint in the Big 12. He's been around Boulder for a long time. I thought it was noteworthy that he retained Bengot Dak, one of the big men in the front court. Last year, they lost 21 games, but Dak is someone, I think that he has a lot of potential. Colorado could spring some upsets, but they got off to such a poor start last year that once they started to have a little bit of success, it was too little too late because they were in the cellar of the league standings. Number 13, Arizona State. Really intrigued by Pepperdine transfer Mo Odom. Marcus Adams, BYU fans know his name. Former Kansas, BYU, Cal State Northridge transfer. Some names to watch for the Sun Devils, but what do they become, the Sun Devils under Hurley? It's a completely new roster. No starters were retained from last year. They lost Jaden Quaintance to Kentucky. I think they could be pretty good because I like some of those transfers like Odom and Adams, but still relatively low expectations for the Sun Devils. Number 12, TCU. Tanner Toolson, former BYU guy as well, and Utah Valley transfer. He should be a nice impact addition for Jamie Dixon's squad. Jaden Pierre, also from Providence. They bring back David Punch from the front court. TCU will be a tough out, like anyone. I mean, if that's the 12th best team in the league, it speaks to how deep this league goes. Number 11, West Virginia. Year one for Ross Hodge. Fourth different head coach in 4 years for the Mountaineers. Bob Huggins, Josh Eilert, Darian DeVries, and now Ross Hodge comes in from North Texas, and he had a lot of success with the Mean Green. I believe he won 26 games in a single season, a couple of years there in Denton. A player to watch for West Virginia, Trayson Eaglestaff from North Dakota. I think he's a transfer to watch for that completely new look Mountaineer squad. But retention, that's going to be the key in Morgantown is this all running it back next year and the years ahead, because it's just been a revolving door for West Virginia basketball over these last handful of years. Number 10, Kansas State. Big step back last year in year 3 under Jerome Tank. They didn't make the postseason, and that's not a good trend for Kansas State, who just a few years ago was, I felt, taking the college basketball world by storm, reaching the Elite Eight, being so close to a Final Four. Those days seem like a distant memory for K-State hoops right now, but they did bring in one of the best transfer portal classes in the country, PJ Haggerty from Memphis. He joins this group. And then Abdi Bashir, 20-point scorer from Monmouth. Those are some names to watch in that transfer class. Number 9, I've got Oklahoma State. I am really impressed with Steve Lutz. I thought he did a very good job in year 1 at Oklahoma State, and it gets a little bit unnoticed at time, but I thought they had a nice run in the NIT quarterfinal appearance. They added a bucket getter and Anthony Roy from Green Bay, 25 points per game last season for Doug Gottlieb's squad at Green Bay. I think Steve Lutz is going to be a really good coach at Oklahoma State. He's won everywhere he's been. He's been to the NCAA tournament. I don't know if I'm ready to say Oklahoma State's going to be an NCAA tournament team, but I think Gallagher-Iba Arena is going to be a tough out once again. I mean, that place has so much history, and it's just been a ghost town. Since BYU joined this league, it's just been, what do you get excited about with Oklahoma State hoops? I think Lutz is going to continue to build that up, and I think they're going to be one of the more improved teams in the league this year. Number 8, Cincinnati. Huge year for Wes Miller. He dismissed Jizzle James a few months ago in August. They got Mustafa Cham from UCF. That was a massive addition. Cham, I thought, was one of the best bigs in the Big 12 last year for UCF. Now he comes to Cincinnati. This team's got to get to the NCAA tournament. They had such high expectations last year, and they came completely short of those expectations. I think similar, I wouldn't say high expectations this year, but I think the potential's there to maybe exceed the lower expectations, but they're just kind of viewed as a middle-of-the-road team in the Big 12. They've got to get to the NCAA tournament this season. Number 7 is Baylor. Veteran transfer additions that Scott Drew brought in for the Baylor Bears. No returning starters from last year's team. Tande Yusufu is a heralded freshman McDonald's All-American. He's one to watch. Plus, since he transferred Dan Skillings, they've also got a transfer from Wyoming who's going to be excellent. Baylor's going to be good. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher defensively than what they've been the last handful of years. Since they won the national title in 2021, there's just been no defensive success for Baylor basketball. I think they're going to be a little bit tougher this year than what we've grown accustomed to in Baylor the last few years. I think this will be a pretty tough squad that Scott Drew has. Number 6, Iowa State. Might be a little bit lower than others might have them. 3 consecutive top 25 net rankings for TJ Otzelberger. This program is humming along. Taman Lipsy, Momcilovic returns. They do lose Curtis Jones, who was kind of a microwave off the bench. He could just fill it up on any given day. There was times where you thought maybe he's a Big 12 Player of the Year candidate coming off the bench, but Iowa State's going to be really good once again. Number 5, Kansas. Darren Peterson. It's all about Peterson. The thing is about Kansas, it's a new look roster led by Darren Peterson, a true freshman. I just think they actually have NBA talent on their roster this year. Yeah, last year they had some seniors in DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, but they didn't have pros. Darren Peterson, Flory Badunga, bringing him back. I think Cole Rosario, the guy that reclassified, BYU was in the mix a little bit for him. They at least offered him. I think they've got legit future NBA talent at Kansas, which has been crazy that they've lacked that the last few years. And it's no surprise that they have come completely short of expectations the last couple of years, being preseason number 1 team. They're going to be really good this year. I think they're going to be slept on a little bit. I think Kansas is going to be in that upper tier of the Big 12. I've got them at number 5. Number 4, Arizona. You lose Caleb Love. They lose Henry Visar. He goes to North Carolina. That's going to be one to watch for BYU fans to see in the exhibition. But you bring back Jaden Bradley, Toby Owaka, one of the best rebounders in the Big 12, and then you add Koa Pete, Jaden Burries, some talented freshmen for Arizona. This will be a really good team. Sweet 16 a season ago before falling to Duke. I expect another second weekend appearance for the Wildcats once again. Number 3, Texas Tech. JT Toppin returns, the Big 12 defending player of the year, got a massive NIL deal from Texas Tech, but it's not just him either. Christian Anderson was an elite guard, one of the best guards in the Big 12, and then they bring in UNC Greensboro transfer Donovan Atwell, another guard. Tech is loaded. They are going to be so good. I think that, the top 3 teams in these power rankings, there's a case that they could be, top 7, top 8 good going into the season in college basketball. Loaded league in the Big 12. Number 2, BYU. I think Kevin Young, in the second year in the program, he has leveled up the talent significantly from a team last year that was a Sweet 16 squad. This is a group that has the potential to be 1 seed line on Selection Sunday good. Winning a conference title is challenging, and it's hard to expect that in these super inflated leagues where you don't play everyone twice. It comes down a little bit of the schedule and things like that. But Rob Wright, AJ DeBonsa, Richie Saunders, Keba Keita, BYU is loaded. They've got the intangibles, the versatility. I don't think you're going to see them go 11 deep this year on the rotation because you've got so much star power at the top that it's hard to imagine taking Rob Wright off the floor in key situations. But Kevin Young has endless options with this team. They are going to be really good. And number 1 is Houston, defending national runner-up, so close to a national title a year ago, but the machine doesn't slow down. And now the recruiting is going to an even higher level. I like the blend of veteran experience with Milos Uzan, JoJo Tugler, Emmanuel Sharp, but then you also bring in Chris Senack, who I saw when he was at Link Academy. He played a game at Pleasant Grove High School. Impressive player. Senak's going to be awesome. And then Isaiah Harwell, a former Wasatch Academy prospect. The Cougs are going to be loaded again. 2-time defending Big 12 regular season champ. They won the tournament in the Big 12 last year. They are the standard in the Big 12, and they've got to be knocked off. And that's going to be the challenge for everyone. I think it's just a little bit interesting that Houston has less veteran experience. You lose Jawan Roberts, who was such a heart and soul of Houston, but Uzan, Tugler, and Sharp, they're going to be really good. Houston is going to be such a tough out once again. But that's my Big 12 power rankings entering the season. What do you think of it? Again, it's Houston number 1, BYU number 2, Texas Tech number 3, Arizona number 4, Kansas number 5, Iowa State at 6, Baylor at 7, number 8, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State at 9, 10, Kansas State, 11, West Virginia, 12, TCU, Arizona State at 13, Colorado 14, Utah 15, and then UCF at 16. That's my Big 12 basketball power rankings entering the preseason. Taking my final timeout, Kelly Poppinga next here on Cougar Tracks. Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube and KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper here with you. And Cougs are getting ready to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. And I had the chance to catch up with BYU defensive ends coach and special teams coordinator Kelly Poppinga. This is my conversation with K-Pop, not K-Pop Demon Hunters, K-Pop, Kelly Poppinga here on Cougar Tracks.
BYU football, short week, getting ready for the West Virginia Mountaineers, and joining me now is defensive ends coach and special teams coordinator Kelly Poppinga. And coach, how's this week change? What day of the week gets maybe eliminated on a short week, getting ready for a Friday?
Yeah, like for us, today's Wednesday. So that's what we've been telling everybody today. Like, that really you kind of miss a Tuesday in a way. And so today is, today's been a Wednesday practice format for us. Monday is like a modified Monday, Tuesday. And so really it's like you really miss that Tuesday full practice still, but we'll make up for it as the week goes on. Probably do a walkthrough or something extra that we normally don't do on a Saturday game. But yeah, we told our guys yesterday when they showed up at the team meeting, we put the I can't even remember. We just played Colorado, right? We put that game to bed pretty quickly and just told them, hey, when you show up tomorrow, it's not Tuesday, it's a Wednesday mindset. That's the way that you got to show up. And so I thought our guys showed up and had a pretty good day today. So,
how would you assess how your special teams are playing through the first 4 games of the season?
Yeah, I would say pretty solid. I'd love, especially in the last 2 games, would have loved to have a little bit more impact. We had a good KOR versus ECU, and we're punting the ball really well, and I think we're kicking the ball really well. Just maybe in the return games, in our punt return game and kick return game, have a little bit more of an impact. But I think we're playing really solid football right now. And, Will was obviously on a streak there. Missed his first one the other night. But, I feel like Sam's punting the ball better than he's ever had. I think we're covering down really well on punts and kickoffs. Besides the one in the ECU game, without that one, we'd probably be the number 1 kickoff cover team in the country. But, yeah, I feel really good. I feel the personnel is really good. Our guys are bought in. Feel like we're, on track of where we were a year ago. Obviously, you got to get some touchdowns compared to last year. That was one of those anomalies. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like that, 6 touchdowns in a year. But, I think we're playing solid, and I think we're impacting the game. We're one of the top teams in the country in average starting field position, which is a goal for our special team. So, I would say we're in a good place.
Is punt returner by committee right now with those two?
Yeah, I really like Tiger and what he provides. I know Parker can do some stuff too as well, but really at the end of the day, it's Parker's job. It was Parker's job to lose, and he lost it by not having good ball security. And so obviously there's things Parker can do that Tiger can't. There's a little bit more burst, but Tiger has just as much, if not more, experience than Parker does back there. Just a little different type of player back there, but I feel good about both of them. And maybe at one point we'll get both of them out there at the same time. I don't know. That would be kind of fun, but we'll see how that goes.
And then defensive ends wise, I know that us and the outside and the media probably make too much of the sack number, but any concern of no sacks for the D ends so far through 4 games, or is that just moving on? Who cares from that?
Yeah, no, the way that we've done things, I would think in general, we've dropped our DNs a lot, and it's just the way that kind of things have been called this year, and we've been close. Logan and Hunter have had some close ones. Seeley had a close one this last game, and so I'm not concerned about it. I mean, right now everything's going to Jack and Glasgow. So, and a lot of the last game was a lot of flushing. So it was really our job to kind of flush it, and for Jack and Glasgow to do the rest. And so when you play those athletic quarterbacks, it's like that where you want to flush them, get them moving on the pocket, and get them out of the pocket. But a lot of it's just been game plan. And I'm not concerned about it. Our team sacks right now, I think, is at 10 or 11, which is we're in a good place. And if you end up with 30 sacks as a team at the end of the year, that's really good. And so I think we're right on track to do that.
How impressed have you been with Logan and Hunter? You mentioned Bodie too. Seemed like maybe it's not those sacks, but like the impact of Bodie getting a pass deflection. Seemed like these guys are having an impact.
Yeah, no, they're doing really well. Yeah, Bodie I think's playing real. I thought Bodie played as good as the game he's played. This last game he played really well, and I think Logan not as productive as he was in the last 2 games, but he brings a physicality to that position that we didn't have a year ago. And even him with being back playing that position, he's way more physical than he was a year ago and quicker off the ball, and he's doing really good stuff. And then with Hunter, being as young as he is, I didn't expect Hunter as a true freshman coming off his mission to be impacting, having the impact in the role that he's having. He's playing anywhere from 20 to 30 snaps a game, and so really happy where he's at, and really just got to get some other guys going, got to get Tausilia kind of going. I think Vilpuha's played, solid, but needs to be more productive. But just in general, we just, got to get after the quarterback a little bit more. But this ain't the week to do that. This week is we got to play the run at a very high level. And, if we're rushing up the field trying to get sacks, that's probably the worst thing that we're going to be able to do this week. And so each game is a little bit different, right? It's just, this week is going to be major emphasis on stopping the run. And, they're going to take some shots. When that happens, we have to be ready to get after the quarterback. So, we'll just see how the game flow goes.
That's such a great point that each game's different because, man, when you watch West Virginia, it feels like almost every game there's been a different quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always cliche, like how do you get ready for whatever quarterback when there's a little bit of a mystery. But with West Virginia, there's been like 3 or 4 different guys already.
Yeah, they've had, I think, 4, maybe even 5 guys out there at one point. And, one of the quarterbacks is hurt. We know that, that's maybe a game-time decision or whatever it may be. We're expecting it to be one of the guys that showed up in the last week's game versus Utah. And those guys, I thought, at times moved the ball very well and really missed a couple throws where they probably could have had 2 or 3 more touchdowns in that game. And so I think those guys are very capable, very good athletes. I think they know how to run that scheme. I think, obviously Coach Rich Rod, he knows what he's doing. He's coached a lot of ball, coached a lot of places, have been very successful. He's going to know, what to do to attack our defense. And so we're going to have to be ready to attack his offense. And I think we have some good stuff for it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we got to execute better than what we did at the beginning of the Colorado game. If we can do that for 60 minutes, then we'll give ourselves a great chance to win this game.
Last question for you, Coach. What would you say just to the alignment of this coaching staff? It just feels like you guys talk a lot about complimentary football, but it just feels like everyone's all really on the same page watching this team operate. And maybe if there's some early struggles against Colorado, you guys adjust. Just speak to maybe just the alignment of the staff.
Yeah, no, I think we're all on the same page of just being aligned with Kalani at the end of the day. Kalani has developed a great culture here of, love and learn and humble and hungry. Those are the things that he talks about all the time. And then, as coaching staff, that's part of the deal. Yet we got to be willing to learn and be humble and be ready to adjust each week depending upon what team is going to bring it, right? So there's some days, some weeks where our offense might go fast and might, not have the time of possession that they have. But these last 2 weeks, they've done a great job of possessing the football, running the clock, keeping the ball out of the offense's hand, the opposing offense's hand. And so that doesn't go unnoticed by us. And then playing great special teams on top of that and keeping points off the board. I mean, that's just all part of, like you said, complementary football. And so just being able to do that, the special team sets up the field positioning for offense and defense. And then from there, being able to get turnovers and not turning over the ball, right? That helps out in that situation too as well. But just we're playing off of each other very well right now. And when we do that, we're a hard team to beat. And so hopefully we can continue on that trend.
And that's BYU Special Teams Coordinator Kelly Poppinga. And that's going to do it for this edition of Cougar Tracks. I hope all of you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to the show, leave a 5-star rating and a review. We'll be back on Thursday with more Cougar Tracks here on the KSL Sports YouTube page.